Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to another episode of Not the Droids podcast. I'm Mayuri.
And I'm Danny.
And today we are going to be talking about which episodes.
We are going to be talking about episodes 3 and 4 of the Young Jedi Adventures. So first we're going to focus on episode 3, which in two parts is Get Well Nubs and the Junk Giant, which released on May 4th on Disney Plus and May 12th on Disney Junior.
I honestly kind of really didn't like. I loved Get Well Nubs, but I was sad because Nubs was barely in it, and I find him to be the comic relief in this show so far.
This will be my slight spoiler for this episode and next episode. I want a Nubs episode.
Like a real Nubs episode.
Like, he's been like the side character, but not even like a good side character. He's just there. And
I
I
feel
love
like
him and he's so cute.
I feel like they treat him like their pet a
A little
little
bit.
bit. And I'm just like, he's not meant to be a pet. He's also a Jedi. And
Yeah.
like, I know that they're slowly like introducing his character, and he obviously doesn't speak our language. So, like, there's a little bit of translation that has to happen through the other characters. But I don't know. I wish there was an episode where Nubs was forward. Because we
Yeah.
keep
I
getting
just keep
episodes.
waiting for it.
Yeah, we keep getting episodes where it's like Kai or Liz or Nash, and
Hmm.
we haven't quite gotten a
And
Nubs
all
one.
his
And
subtitles just say speaks Poobian.
it just says speaks Poobian. I was hoping it at one point they would be like, "Oh, this is the translation."
Where they throw in like a random phrase that he says. Be like, oh.
Oh, that's what that means. Um,
Here's my first question. How old do we think these young Jedi are?
I can't guess. I honestly, it's a children's show, so we have to assume they're like children age, but
Like the show's
time
aimed at
works
like
different.
5, 6 year olds.
They're definitely not 5 or 6.
No, they can't be.
I'm like 8 to 10,
I feel
but
like
like
that's safe, but at the same time, some of the things they're doing, I'm like, are you though?
I know. Well, so I'll
Mm.
laugh because like as we go through the episode, I make a lot of notes to myself, and one of my favorite notes is is Liz the only person on this team that has critical thinking skills? And because like I every single time it's like, oh no, and it's like, actually guys, I see this clue. And I'm just like, she's the only one who's a critical thinker. And I feel like for children, like girls develop faster. So it kind of
Mhm.
tracks where Kai
It
is like,
tracks. And the comment I have written here for Kai is Kai has Gryffindor energy.
he really does. He has, this
Like
kid has no survival instincts.
single-mindedness, doesn't pay attention, just goes, like doesn't stop. Like, and that was like one of the lessons of the Get Well Nubs episode was that their Jedi Master told Liz to stay focused,
Yes,
which
because she clearly has ADHD, this
relatable,
Jedi.
and Kai to pay attention to his surroundings.
I think it's
And then you
hilarious.
take those two personalities and send them on a mission together.
Speaking of said mission, I had a question because I was just like, okay, maybe Nash was on a thing, but like it felt very like Gandalf and the Ring, where it was just like, go on this arduous journey to the top of a tree. And oh, wait, but like, your friend with the starship, like, don't ask them to fly you there.
No.
No, just take a speeder.
Nash has a job. She's not a Jedi. Like, you have to remember that Nash is not always available to do the Jedi's bidding.
I get that. So, but that's where it's just like, but other times Nash is just hanging out waiting for a call from the young
Yeah.
Jedi. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like even just giving her a call and be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm busy."
So,
Um,
on our follow-up of Nubs, they go to this place to get these leaves, and there's beautiful plants, and Nubs, our herbologist of the group, doesn't get to
Doesn't
see the
even get to go.
plants.
The Yara plant, which is so rare.
Like someone else could have been sick because Nubs can identify plants. But
Yeah,
maybe
like
that's the
why?
point, is that the other two had to like learn to listen and to pay attention because Nubs would have known what plant they needed.
Yeah, but I also think that if Nubs was there, he has super strength, and so that sometimes is a cop out because like they were going against the Gangul, right? This giant
Yep.
monster,
He's
and
not a monster, he's a creature.
oh, my bad. Creature, this very aggressive creature, um,
Territorial.
super territorial about this plant, which I also enjoy when they finally did get past
That they
the
reminded them,
Gangul.
remember they had lightsabers?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to cut you, but like we'll use this to scare you." And I was just like, where was the lightsaber the whole time? Why
Your
didn't you use
Jedi.
it?
That's like that's your party trick. That is your back pocket go-to.
That's your back pocket go tool. And then also, did you notice that when they did get to the plant, instead of taking like maybe a few leaves, they took.
I don't think they've made tea before because one leaf doesn't usually cut it for your
I
tea.
was laughing so hard because I was just like, yes, do all this work, get to the plant, take one leaf for one cup of tea, and
Yep.
then Nubs will be healed. One something that I always love is like the logistics of things and how they're different. But I laugh so hard because like when they go to Nubs's room, first of all, Nubs sleeps in a hammock, which tracks
Genius.
because amazing. But my favorite is that they're all just tablet kids,
Yeah.
right? They all have these tablets, and I was just like, oh, like
I want to know if Nubs and Pubians are any relation to Ewoks.
I feel like they're blue, so maybe not relation, but maybe they're from a
Like
planet
cousins?
that
Like
has
Romulans
similar,
and Vulcans are like somehow
yeah,
like,
like their planets like evolved from each other or something like
yeah,
that. Because they feel similar from what I've seen, which
yeah.
isn't, I never honestly really paid attention to those parts. I know. We're
Okay, we'll,
changing.
we'll talk about that when we get to the Ewoks.
But no, and then like I honestly, as we go through these episodes, I'm really enjoying meeting more creatures and things like that.
Yeah.
And I also like I make notes, right? Like I was like the flitter pods are dolphin fish because like they're jumping like
Yeah.
dolphins, but they have like four fins.
Yep.
And I was like, I was honestly like, who at Star Wars is like thinking of all of these creatures?
And how do
Is
I get that job?
seriously, it's like, guys, have you ever thought, what if dolphins didn't have a back fin? How would they swim? How would they jump? And it's just like this, all of these animals are just like so like where is the references that they used?
Yeah.
And then they just like wildly colored, which I love.
Or
Um,
which worker at Star Wars has a child with this creative of imagination? Because I could see this like being like a kid that was drawing. They're like, oh, it's part dolphin, part butterfly. It flitters around. I'm like,
that's
hey, that's a great
true.
character.
That would be such a cool idea. Like if they just like put it to like the staff's children to like just
They
draw a
just go to
bunch
a
of
kindergarten
creatures.
classroom. We're like, we need these kids to create
They're
some
like,
creatures for us.
marketing is doing a test market on creatures. We want you to draw space creatures on different
You don't have
planets.
to say space. Just say, draw your favorite, make up your own creature. Go.
This episode's like rolls right into the next one.
Yep.
Uh which the junk giant.
The junk giant.
Adorable. Adorable.
Can we talk about how like it starts off giving some history about Tanu?
Yes. Yes.
And
With
then we
like
meet
the
Marla.
I love
I
Marla.
love Marla, and I'm going to, because this is what happened to me. I'm like, I know Marla. Did
Oh,
you
do you?
recognize Marla's voice?
No.
Did you go, oh, that sounds familiar?
I mean, it felt familiar, but I was
Trey
trying to think
Summer, the voice of Susie Carmichael in the Rugrats.
that
As soon as she was
that makes
talking, I'm like, I
sense.
know her.
I was like, this feels like I've heard this voice before. I feel like
Yeah.
she's adorable. I love her already. And I
And like, in my head, I'm like, oh, this sounds like Susie, but I had to go like research that I was correct there. Susie
That
from
is
the
so funny.
Rugrats.
I thought she was so adorable. They go to this junkyard, and it's just like, I'm so little. I need machines to lift big things, or just nubs.
Yeah.
I did laugh. So like the episode starts out where they're at like the Hap Sap Tap, and I was just laughing out. I literally wrote, I was like, is this like the Johnny Rocket of Tanu? Like he was making them custom milkshakes and
Yep.
stuff like that. I was like, oh, adorable. But I really loved that she's like, I'm into sculpture. I make junk into art.
Things can be turned into something new, which is kind of like our overarching
Lesson.
theme because our dear
Yeah.
friend Tabor.
Listen, I will say we got some depth to Tabor. I know that Tabor was stealing and
Mhm.
trying to make something to um so I want to look at it from a different point of perspective. I was like, Tabor is just trying to earn the respect of the other pirates.
Tabor
He's
is
being,
insecure and is trying to get approval.
yes, but also serious building skills from Tabor. Took a bunch of junk, made it into a giant,
Hmm?
it. I was like, are all these kids programmers now? Like the electrical and mechanical knowledge needed to build this robot, but also infuse it. I don't know how personalities work with droids, but like
And he was
it,
rude to his droid.
he was rude to it, but it had critical thinking skills. He was just like, stop those Jedi, and it looked around and was like, here is an interesting way of, here's the best way to do it,
Yeah.
as opposed to just like chasing them, which I thought was nice. um I was very impressed with Tabor. I know, and I was just like, he was just trying to be an entrepreneur
Yep.
and, you know, invent things.
He was trying. And our dear friend, the junk giant, then becomes JG1.
I did like that. It's like, you only have one and you were called Junk Giant. Um I it One of the things as we're meeting droids, I'm kind of just like, how are they naming them? So it was really nice
To see
to
the
see
breakdown.
the breakdown of how this droid was named. Um I will say in this episode, the funniest moment to me, I don't know if you caught it, but when Kai and Liz and Nubs were like using the force to lift stuff, there's a moment where Nash also moves her hands like she's lifting something. Um I just thought it was really funny. I was like, Nash wants to be included. Like,
You're
let's
cute, Nash. I like Nash. Nash had some good moments.
yes, Nash has great moments. I like that they go to Nash as like the droid like and ship expert,
Yes. She is.
anything
She is like the
mechanical.
expert on machinery.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, and then also like it's really, the junk giant feels pain and has anxiety and feelings. And I was just like, man, I wonder if they would ever consider doing like some sort of series about like how droids came about in the universe, and like, because a lot of the droids have personalities, right?
Yes.
Like did the personalities come through as like an error in code, or like how did
Yeah.
their
How's
base
that?
code?
How do we get there? How do we get to
So like,
personality?
I wonder if they would ever do that, because like as I'm meeting new droids, I keep thinking about it, right? Like, and
RJ's
I'm
still my
just,
favorite.
RJ is your favorite? I think the junk giant is my
I
favorite.
really do like the junk giant, but RJ's just so good.
RJ is adorable. um
And
they just
then
kind of,
our line of this episode that I really enjoyed is, "You may be broken, but you're still special." Can you get the
hearts,
hearts?
I don't know, oh yes. Yeah, that was so cute. And that's why that's the
I
lesson, right? Like
I loved
I also
Marla, and Marla's look was different too.
oh yes, like she's got style. She reminds
She's
me
got
of
texture, whereas a
yeah,
lot of our characters have not had this texture. And her cool little glasses that look like little
yeah, they like
bulbs.
came out the sides and not over the middle. I like it was cool. I did like her style. I think that they're playing with like the side character styles
Yeah.
a little bit more as we're going on. And she kind of reminded me a little bit like from the new Star Wars movies, there's like that Ross? Ross? Is it the like
Roz.
little
Yeah.
yeah. It kind of gave me like Roz vibes
Yeah.
in terms of like how she is. But um yeah, no, I like this episode, this like mini
I enjoyed
episode.
this one.
It was cute. I think it was cute. The next one was wild. I like how we went from like being in the desert to being in a snowy mountain range. My favorite, so the Wellergren, I literally wrote walrus seals that swim in snow. Another one. It's
They're
like
one of my favorite creatures now.
they're so odd, controlled by
Yeah.
flutes.
And we were on the planet Adraban.
Yeah.
When
So
I
in this
write it
planet,
down, I don't remember how to say it. I need to start writing pronunciations.
oh, I have no idea. I enjoyed like I know that the creature, like the Varna, like the I called her an elephant lady because she's like a shortened trunk. I know that's like a Star Wars creature that we've seen before.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, I thought it was so
Yeah. We
interesting the
went
way they
by
took.
Gumar and Jam, and I love the name Jam for this
Yeah,
character.
I stumbled a little bit with Gumar. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
He had older brother vibes. We're good. Jam is definitely the younger brother.
yeah, I did like that Jam also like took care of a little Welligrin the whole
Yeah.
time. But also I just laugh because, Liz doesn't pay attention. She tries too hard, she triggers the avalanche after everyone's like, be careful of the avalanches. I was like,
Yes.
guys, who didn't think that these flutes were gonna be a problem? But yeah,
And our theme here was you must be patient with yourself. And I don't know if you caught it this time, is that when she realized she needed to be patient, we got our force music.
I did start catching it. So you've been saying it the last couple episodes, and I have been trying to listen for it when they like use certain cues. I'm starting to see it more, and I feel like they're bringing it in heavier and heavier, like the
Yeah.
better that they get with the force. And I don't know if that's just me and that I didn't notice before, and now I am noticing it.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, 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 no. I thought it was a good lesson that like
Yeah. This was
don't
also like
just
a good teamwork episode.
it was.
All of them kind of functioning together. Like no one really like Liz more so than the others, but she's the creatures person. Like no one really like took charge. Like we didn't have Kai's type A or
Yeah,
type.
I kind of like that. It's not even just like he's just such a frenetic energy
I
about it.
like Kai, but sometimes I'm like I need less Kai because
Yeah.
he's so much, and I'm like I need you to pull it back, and I need you to actually take one of these lessons to heart.
Yeah. Take all the lessons that everyone's trying to teach you to heart.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked that like one of the big themes here was like the force will guide you. You
yeah,
just have to like stop and
and
breathe
listen.
and listen and think about what you're doing
I
before.
like that they focus a lot on like the meditation and the breathing for Alyssa's character.
I think it kind of plays in. So like every time they talk about lists, she's like, please pay attention, don't get distracted. Like
Mhm.
it's very ADHD coded, right?
Yeah.
And I think that actually helps a lot. And it like centering yourself helps you like
Yeah. She's trying to
focus
regulate.
yourself.
That's what she's
Yeah, she's trying
doing.
to regulate, and that's what they're trying to teach her. Um, I'm curious if they're ever going to teach Nubs a lesson because
I am curious if Nubs is just the best Jedi of the pack.
Like they never
And
have
so
to
they're like,
teach
we can't
Nubs
send
anything.
Nubs because Nubs already knows this stuff. He doesn't have to learn to be patient or
Nubs just inherently knows. Well, there's like little moments in the episode where you're like, girl, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Like, when she was like going up, I think is it where she was going up into a tree to get something? Um, was it a tree? It was a plant or something like that. And I'm like, why
Yeah.
did you go for the farthest one? You were in a full tree or like full environment of them, but you had to go all the way to the end to pick something when there was other ones closer. Like, I know it's part of the show where it's like, oh, hey, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm thinking of Liz as like the critical thinker of the group
Yeah.
because every time they have a problem, Kai like
The
barrels
problem
forward,
solver. Yeah.
but Liz is the problem solver. But that it was a moment where I was like, maybe we could have thought a little bit better before like just barreling to the end.
Mhm.
Um,
My lesson of this episode. Do you have anything else to say on this episode?
no. Oh, wait. I do have one. The avalanche at the end was so large and somehow it dissipated before we got to the final locate. I was like, where did the snow go?
It's just hanging out.
Kid universe. It's kid universe. But
The lesson of this episode, from the point of view of me, is a direct quote. Never underestimate the power of a good snack.
that's
Tell me
funny.
I'm wrong.
You're not. It ruined the day. That is funny. Now, well, this was one of the ones I feel like even though they kept repeating it, it wasn't like a hammered home lesson. I feel like
No.
some episodes we get like Yoda
Well, Yoda
or
says it in the beginning. The kids say it halfway through, but forget it, and then reevaluate it at the end, like in the last
yeah,
episode.
no. And
All
also the
right.
flutes kill me.
So our next
Um,
episode,
Attack of the Training Droids.
yes.
I loved this one. I'm
We have
not
so
gonna
many
lie.
training droids episodes where things go wrong with the training droids. I'm like, are these guys safe? Also, these kids are meddling with droids very early.
That's what I'm saying is like are all these kids like programmers all of a sudden? Like how did Kai like what he was just like, let me
Beep,
just
beep, beep.
repro beep bop beep beep.
But as we can see, he's not good at it.
No, it's much more
But
nuanced.
but the way in which he edited these drones, not drones, droids, is very much his character. Single
Well, yeah,
focus.
this is what I need to get the job done. And he doesn't like programming an end, right? Like once you finish these, you're done.
You just stack things because everything needs stacked.
Stacking. When they were stacking they like stole everyone's lunch and like stacked all the trays. Sometimes I'm like, this is like with all kid shows. It's like you have the main kids causing mayhem, and I'm like, sometimes I want the point of view of like the other kids. There was a part where like
The background Jedi, young Jedi.
the droids were going by and the kids were like frozen and they're like and then they walk by and they're like, oh, thank gosh.
They're like,
Like
hi again.
it's like this
Why
kid
is it always you
again.
three?
It is that energy though. Like, why is it always you three? Did you catch? I don't know if we've met this droid before, but D, the like general housekeeping like temple droid,
Mm-hmm.
um, is giving me like Alfalfa. Is that the name of the droid from Power Rangers? The ay ay
Yes.
ay ay
Alpha
ay
5. No, Alfalfa's
Alpha
from
5.
Little Rascals. Ay, ay,
Alpha.
ay.
You know what I mean? Like that's the energy I was getting from D.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it kind of like just the lesson was like take your time, don't go too fast, and like really
And do
think
things
about what
right
you're
the first
doing.
time.
Yes. And
And then,
don't program
what
things.
followed that lesson that Yoda told us about? His little Yoda giggle.
And this is like every time the Yoda giggle happens, I know I've mentioned it before, but the animated teeth creep me out.
The Yoda giggle is priceless.
It was priceless. It was fun to see like Yoda like train them. Like this is how it's done.
And we do it as a team, not as a
Yes.
one-off.
Yeah, at the end where they all teamed
Kai.
up, I'm like, that's such an empowering moment for all of them to be like, oh, we did it with Master Yoda. Um, but yeah, it was just one of those episodes. I think it was like very clear cut what the episode was to be, what to teach it. And I think
Mhm.
it like kind of showed us a little bit more of the temple areas, which
Yeah.
was nice. Like you see all the other places.
Yes.
So I did enjoy it.
Okay. So of these four that we just talked about, Get Well Nubs, the Junk Giant, Bliss in the Snowy Mountain Rescue, and Attack of the Training Droids, who is your favorite character?
I'm
Or
gonna
like who wins
say
these episodes?
I think Liz wins these episodes, to
I
be
agree.
honest, because like this is where like Liz is the critical thinker. She's doing a lot of the problem solving. Nubs is really just like muscle.
Nubs' background. He's not even
Like
muscle. He's like
he's
background.
barely he's barely like a thought in these episodes, and Kai is the problem.
Yeah,
It's
he
like,
really
hi,
is.
you're the problem every episode. What is wrong with you? But yeah, what who was your favorite?
I think I'm going to agree that it's Liz out of these
Yeah.
four. What about your favorite droid of these four? I
I
think we'll
still
have the
think that
same.
I think JG won.
Yeah, our junk giant's going to win these four.
Yeah. It's just adorable. And when then like his hand got cut off, he was just like so sad.
Or JG. But JG has found a friend in Marla, which means like I believe Marla comes in more based off my Googling of Marla's voice. So maybe we'll see more of JG.
Well, so I think like some of these like background characters that they're introducing, like it makes sense.
This is the
Um
community. These are the neighbors.
yeah, they're all neighbors. Like I think Marla is on or
Yeah,
we're
I don't
on
think
to
they're true
new.
background characters. Like the other students
Yeah.
seem very background, but like Marla is like Hap. Like they make up the community that the Jedi live in.
Yes. In Kublop Springs. Kublop. Every time they're just like, it's a Kublop geyser. It's Kublop this. I just every time I'm like, where did that name come from? But yeah. So is
Where
that
can we
it?
find you?
Yes. um I am Mercurial Conjurer on Instagram. Danny, what is your handle?
I am Mandrakes and Mischief.
So drop us a follow, but also make sure that you're following the podcast itself on Instagram. So it's Not the Droids Pod.
Also on
Uh,
YouTube, also on TikTok, also on Threads. Did I miss any?
no, I think, and then we have a Discord server. So if you want to continue talking about these things, maybe go into things a little bit deeper. We're kind of organizing it by episode so that there's no spoilers ahead. And you can chat to us, chat to other people watching. We're really excited for this kind of discussion aspect for it. And
Yeah,
in
so
terms of,
all
sorry,
the links are in our link tree on Instagram, and it will be located at all the other things. Also, the podcast is everywhere.
everywhere podcasts.
Video podcast you can catch on YouTube and Spotify. Audio
I
is on
do,
all the other apps, but you can actually see the video of our beautiful faces.
and our current obsessions behind us.
My
One of
current
the
Her Universe wear. Oh my.
I was gonna say that's like one thing I don't have. I don't have a lot of like merch. So I like
Yet.
to do not yet, not yet. One of the other things with getting the community together is we are looking for volunteers for anybody who wants to guest on the podcast. Currently, we are searching for people to join us for Skeleton Crew episodes. So we'll be recording an episode ourselves on the day it comes out, but then the Wednesday after the episodes drop, we're looking to record an episode with guests to talk further about the show that just aired. So if you're interested, drop us a line on any of our socials or just email us directly at notthedroidspod
at
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Also, like we are currently looking for skeleton crew, but if that time frame doesn't work for you and you love the Acolyte, or if even if there's something in the future we're not to yet, and you're like, I love this specific episode of the Clone Wars, like put me down for this for 3 months from now. Like
Yeah,
send us
whenever you
those
guys.
too, because we'll follow up with you.
Yeah. And then remember, we're not the droids you're looking for.
But we're the droids you're gonna get.